How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video, and it looks like, Legends, we have quite a bit to get through, from GTA potentially costing an arm and a leg. We have PlayStation fans, of course, now going after PlayStation influencers because they are playing Starfield. We've got a bunch of other stuff that we're going to go through, so hopefully you enjoy this content and find this video useful, informative, or simply just enjoy the information that's coming out of it. As always, I appreciate every single one of you, and thank you for your continued patronage for coming and watching this content. Right, so first thing first, we start off with GTA 6. And as we can see here, it's gonna be interesting. Now, Karim here says, I wonder how GTA 6 fans waiting for the game feel about this. And it says, what will the game be priced at after release? According to recent leaks, GTA 6 could cost $150 per copy. Now, coming to the UK, that would also be £150 per copy of the game. When the game is released in the markets, it is said that Take-Two Interactive wants to recover the $2 billion quickly. Hence, the initial pricing on the product might be on the expensive side. Now, if that is the standard version of the game, the basic edition at £150 or $150, I guess the deluxe edition or the ultimate edition is going to probably be somewhere in the region of about £200 to £220 or $220. That's quite pricey. That's almost the price. In fact, it is the price, I believe, of the Series S. That's crazy pricing right there. But what is the danger of something like this? I'm seeing on Twitter right now that a lot of people are saying, yes, I'll buy it, no problem. The game is worth it. Just release it and I'll pay whatever you want. The danger here, however, isn't the fact that the game is going to be £150 or $150. It's the fact that if this actually becomes a commercial success at that price, every other company watching is going to price their game the same. And I know a number of you are saying, well, they're not GTA and they're not going to be as good. It doesn't matter. Their games will be priced at that value. We already saw companies doing this with the £70, the £10 price hack to £70. It's going to be the same thing. This is a very, very dangerous move for the industry, and I really hope it is one that doesn't really materialize, because if it does, you can bet that all the publishers, especially like 2K and company, Activision Blizzard, if assuming they don't get bought out by Microsoft, they're all going to follow suit. Can you imagine having to pay £150 to £220 for Call of Duty every year? That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So this is actually something that I personally am going to keep an eye on. I think it's mental at that price for a game. But, people spend a hell of a lot more on gacha games, right? And I know that argument is going to come up. And we're also going to hear the argument that people spend way more on microtransactions. The problem is this game is going to have microtransactions. This game doesn't need to be at this price. With the microtransactions it's going to have on the game, with the pricing that it should have at $70, this game will sell bucket loads. It will be one of the biggest selling games of all time. The microtransactions on its own will carry it through, just like the GTA Online is doing right now. So at the end of the day, it doesn't need to be this value. But if it does, it'll be interesting to see how the industry as a whole continues to move forward, whether they will adopt this new pricing or not. I think this is quite dangerous, honestly, for us as consumers, and this is the sort of thing a regulatory body should be looking at. That's crazy. Right, our next story comes to, of course, PlayStation fans. It's unbelievable, but here you can see Nico saying there are fanboys wanting people to be fired because they are playing Starfield. Now, Allanah Pearce, as you know, has connections to Sony, and, considering they employ her. But here is what it says. Someone's DAP says Allanah Pearce should be fired for promoting Xbox games on a public platform like this. By public platform, they're referring to Twitch. Extremely unprofessional and demonstrates a lack of loyalty and seriousness to PlayStation. her employer. And then they tag Herman Hulst, who probably doesn't give a shit, and that Corey Barlog, who also probably doesn't give a shit. Now, this is like extreme, right? Actually, putting a post like this, extremely unprofessional and demonstrates a lack of loyalty and seriousness to PlayStation just because she's playing a Starfield? Like, I've been saying this in almost every video I've made. But how much mental damage has this one game done to every pony out there? I wouldn't say every single. There's some logical ones out there. Let's be realistic, right? But how much damage has it actually done? Because people like the AP that can come out and say this bullcrap, there's something wrong up here, man. There has to be. There has to be something wrong up here. No mentally sane person would say something like this. I mean, I guess they're really hurt that she's having a good time with Starfield. I don't know what else to say. But you know what isn't crazy? I released a video yesterday that I knew was going to be controversial. The views on there wasn't going to be great. But I'm happy, like, reading the comments, it's actually made me feel a bit better. Because people saw where I was coming from and the point I was trying to make. It wasn't so much about the whole pronoun situation, but more the fact that the hypocrisy from these people is starting to become deafening. And, you know, even with that video, I asked for 250 likes and you managed to hit that challenge with just under 300 likes. And I appreciate every single one of you that turned up and even, you know, give a like on that video, because I knew it was going to be a risky one. But I still wanted to talk about it because it was the right thing to do. But in this video, I'm going to give you another challenge of 250 likes, and here is hoping that you can smash that one as well. And let me know in the comment section below whether you think that what is happening to Allanah Pearce right now is actually crazy. Right, on with the video. Right, our good folks at PC Gamer are back again. Taunting us with derelict mechs was bad, but this is just cool. I mean, this now is them really stretching, right? Reaching out to try and get as much kick in there as they can. Considering PC Gamer, who haven't actually played the PC version of Baldur's Gate, the PS5 version of Baldur's Gate 5, and their review confirms that they haven't played Baldur's Gate 5, gave it a 10 out of 10. That review should be stricken from Metacritic straight away, but of course it's not going to be because it's for the PlayStation 5. They didn't even review the PlayStation 5 version of the game. The stuff that they're talking about in that review clearly indicate that they have no idea what they're talking about, because the PlayStation 5 version doesn't offer what they're saying. The PlayStation 5 version doesn't play the way that they're saying. They clearly are reviewing the PC version and are trying to pass that off as the PS5 version. But this is PC Gamer. That is where they're at. But here we go with the actual item description reveal. Starfield as a dark future without Labrador retrievers. And as you can see here, though they are featured in Starfield's concept art, pets do not appear to be present in the full game. Furthermore, an item description indicates that the Labrador retrievers and possibly all dogs have gone extinct. The psychic damage, I guess they are so mentally deranged at PC Gamer that they can't even type correctly. The psychological damage, which is what this is supposed to say, but they called it a psychic damage because that's how mentally deranged they are over there, doesn't stop there apparently. After reading that item description, you have to wonder, does Starfield mention any non-existent canines? Is there any NPC chatter somewhere someone mentions that the dog they had growing up? Any posters of a dog with a fun little spacesuit? Or does Starfield expect me to believe that somehow humanity took to the stars without man's best friend? Taunting us with derelict mechs was bad, but this is just cruel. Like, they've gone from every gate you can go to, and they are still nitpicking at this game. I mean, I actually am now officially lost for words on how shit this publication actually is. And You know, I'm actually happy that Microsoft didn't give them a review code, because garbage like this just doesn't deserve it. And before anyone turns around in the comments and say, are you only giving it to people that agree with you? No, that is not what I'm saying. Just like how Sony has blacklisted Survivor because he is purposefully giving their games a low score, like Death Rising, giving it a 3 out of 10, Horizon Forbidden West giving it a 6 out of 10. Those games don't deserve those scores. But these people here have no intention with PC Gamer or the likes of IGN to ever give, the games a real, a score. I mean, even if we dismiss IGN, PC Gamer themselves have pushed it to a level that's just unacceptable from any professional organization. And I hope they're blacklisted. I really do, because they deserve it. Right, some good news. As you can see down here with Starfield, they've actually, on early access, gone up. They are now at an all-time peak of 248,632. What does this mean? This means that they've actually made a minimum of 24.86 million. That's crazy. That's without counting the early access Xbox versions of the game, people who actually bought the Xbox version, and the £100 Xbox version of the game as well, which comes with deluxe edition. That's ignoring people who bought the full edition as well. You're potentially looking at 30 million already, and the game isn't even out yet. It's insane how much money this game is making, along with all the merch like the watch, the mics, and everything else. Starfield commercially is a massive success. Whether people want to try and cheat the system and give it a bad review score or not, is they can do what they want. At the end of the day, has this game made Microsoft and Bethesda a lot of money? Way more than they invested. And at the end of the day, that's all businesses care for. And as far as they're concerned, this game is a massive, massive success. And hopefully, when Elder Scrolls 6 comes, we'll see similar results. Hopefully they can get past the creation engine though. I think that's pretty much past the sell-by date at this point. Right. This article over here says Starfield pilot proves fast travel isn't needed after 7-hour flight to Pluto. So this publication, which he's carefully made sure we can't see who it is, but obviously it was Allanah Pearce that actually did this, the one that the PlayStation fans were hating over. This was the stream. Well, it turns out that whoever wrote this article is saying that they would like the whole game to be like this, where you spend hours and hours and hours on end in a game, just flying and flying and flying with nothing happening. Like, really? And I think Paul Tassi here sums it up perfectly, right? To preserve an authentic experience, I will go into cryosleep for 800 years to manually reach Alpha Centauri as God intended. I mean, he's mocking them clearly, right? He's clearly mocking them. But he's also making a very valid point here. That's ridiculous. The fact that you can do it is amazing. And it proves, gives light to the fact that people are going to be trying this sort of stuff and doing time lapse and whatnot, with them going from one solar system to another. It's going to be amazing to see. Maybe they'll even discover different solar systems that aren't even generated yet. It's going to be wondrous to see. But the fact that these people are saying that, fast travel wasn't needed and shouldn't have been in the game because you can travel for 7 hours to Pluto. What if you have an actual story mission that requires you to go to Pluto? Yeah, I know the actual planet was almost like a mystified thing over there, and it was some people are saying it's a JPEG. I don't know what it is. I didn't really see the stream, but throwing all that stupid nonsense away, who in their right mind is going to travel for 7 hours for a story mission? Right. Now, there's been a lot of controversy regarding how you should play the game, and one of the things that has come out once the reviews came out was for you to go and complete the game entirely, and in the main story, and then start the new game plus, and that would be the best way to experience Starfield. Now, ACG has said, I absolutely 100% do not suggest you mainline Starfield. Now talking to a few others who regret that, I can say comfortably play at your speed and do it the way you want. But the rush through it because of blah 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 isn't really sound advice. Now, Gaffalian has also turned around and said that though there is a payoff for finishing the campaign and then starting a new game plus, and it's a really good payoff, even he's turned around and said that it's not actually needed, and that experiencing the game you want isn't really going to hurt you when you get to that payoff. So instead of getting there in 20 hours, if you got there in 100 hours, you're still going to benefit from that payoff, even though it's taking you longer to get there. So take that as you will. I think that's actually sound advice, and I've actually started to explore a little as well personally, and I'm actually enjoying finding these little outposts and stuff to just explore and find loot and take out enemies. It's quite fun. Right, so this is the last thing I wanted to touch on, because David Jaffe has been very vocal when it comes to Starfield. He's pretty much constantly said that, the game looks like crap, but it is still one of his favorite games. And that's actually a pretty bold statement, right? To have such a polar response. And honestly, because of his reaction and his enjoyment of Starfield, he's been attacked by PlayStation fans left, right, and center. This is a guy that is the father of, as you can see here, video game designer, director, Drawn to Death, Twisted Metal, God of War, Calling All Cars, Mickey Mania, currently hosting Gavin. He was one of the heads of God of War. And the disrespect they're showing him now because he's enjoying Starfield is surreal. But this is what he had to say.
Okay, so I have never played a Bethesda RPG for more than a couple hours. So I'd heard everybody talk about the freedom. But I just leveled up my jetpack, and I just boost pack, whatever the fuck they call it. It amazes me that I could have gone the entire game and still loved every bit of it and advanced through it, and never had the ability to traverse certain levels depending on the gravity at this level of freedom. Me and my little buddy down there just took out this entire exterior cult overrun base from the air, and that was certainly, the design on that, where you've got to design it and QA it from all these different possible ways to approach it. What a nightmare of effort, but it's really cool. Again, I know it's just a jetpack in any other game, but it doesn't have to be this in this game. It just is, because that's how I spec my dude. That shit's crazy, man. I'm loving this fucking game. Excellent, excellent game.
And as you can see here, wow, just so neat. Okay, I'm shutting up now. Back to playing Starfield. Laters. And he's got multiple tweets where he's just constantly praising the game because he enjoys it. And, people are, have you played Baldur's Gate 3 yet? I played 8 hours of Starfield, but had to go back to Baldur's Gate 3. It's like, the jetpack is cool, but the planets look extremely boring. And people are further down are just attacking him because he's enjoying Starfield. This is, again, someone who is pretty PlayStation centric. So it seems Ponies don't really care who is playing Starfield, whether they're PlayStation legends or just PlayStation influencers or just PlayStation employees. If they are seen touching Starfield, they are public enemy number one. It's becoming ridiculous. Just let people play the game. Jesus. Well, folks, that's pretty much it for this video. Again, I'm coming back to this article here, or this notion here that, GTA 6 could potentially be £150. I really hope it's not, because that's going to open the floodgates, and that's going to be a sad day for consumers. Yeah, we can all vote with our wallets, but when has that actually ever happened? People don't do that. They just succumb and pay what it is and move on. And if this is what Rockstar is planning, I can tell you from now, people are going to pay that price to play GTA 6, and it will become the new standard. And I'm that terrifies me, because games are there to be enjoyed, and services, I mean, at the end of the day, what this will do is push more and more people to services like Game Pass, and yeah, because at the end of the day, they won't be able to afford that, but they'll be able to afford £10 a month to go and play 400 different games. Especially if Microsoft is going to release their services, you know, a quarter, first party per quarter. That's pretty much going to sell itself if prices start to go in that direction. I don't know. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion. And of course, guys, if you see someone playing Starfield, I know none of you are going to go out and start hating on them. None of you are like that, right? Of course you're not. You're not crazy. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Main Legend.